Welcome to another portion of the Querying and Selecting Spatial Data module learning material. In this portion, we are going to talk about the selection tools that are used in ArcGIS and ArcPy. The easiest way to think about the selection tools we typically use on vector GIS data is to think back to the actual desktop tools that we commonly use. So for querying a table by its attributes, if we are in desktop GIS, specifically ArcMap or ArcPro, we use the Select by Attributes geoprocessing tool. Here in the Select by Attributes geoprocessing tool, we identify the table we want to select from, the selection type we want, whether it's going to be a new selection or we're going to select a subset from an existing selection or remove from the existing selection. And we also get to put in the query expression. For querying data by spatial location, we use the Select by Location geoprocessing tool. And in this tool, we identify the data sets that we want to do the spatial selection on, the input and the selecting feature, the relationship between those features, whether it's going to be selecting by what gets intersected, is found within, or found within a distance of. And then we also get to tell it the selection type that we want to execute. Keeping in mind that with Select by Location, the relationship that we evaluate out is different based upon the geometry of our data. So you will get different options based upon the geometry of your input features and also your selecting features. So how the GIS tools, these selection tools, work in ArcGIS. What you may not be aware of is that when you use these selection tools, when they run, they are not querying your actual GIS data stored on disk or stored on a server or stored in the cloud. These selection tools are operating off of what is called a feature layer or a table view. Both of these are in-memory copies of your data or your attribute table. So when the Select by Attributes or Select by Location tools run in your GIS software, they create an in-memory copy of your data, run the selection, and then delete the in-memory version when you undo the selection or you move forward in the rest of your GIS operations and the tool is finished. Moving from the desktop GIS software to ArcPy, the same is going to apply. However, you as the GIS professional in ArcPy have to be the one who's the script author, and you must include the geoprocessing tool to create this in-memory feature layer or table view. In ArcPy, this tool is called Make Feature Layer. This tool will be added to any script that you write where you want to take advantage of the Select by Attribute or Select by Location tools out of the ArcGIS toolbox. So let's talk a little bit more about this Make Feature Layer tool. The Make Feature Layer tool is located in the Data Management toolbox that has the short name of Management. The syntax for the tool is shown here. Remember, there are two conventions for scripting out the actual name of our tools. The first is to have ArcPy.theToolboxName.theToolName. The second, and the more conventional one that's been around longer, is to have ArcPy.theToolName_the toolbox short name. However, notice both of them use the same tool with the same set of parameters. So for Make Feature Layer, it requires an in feature, an out layer. You have to give it that information. Optional in here is a where clause, your workspace, and field info. So the short code snippet at the bottom here shows an example of using this tool to create a feature layer called Parcels LYR, which is a common naming convention for a layer to put the dataset name _LYR from a GIS dataset on the C drive that's called parcels.shape. These next slides are going to give you a look at the ArcPro help documentation for this tool. So remember, each tool has its own help page online that has a summary of the tool. So the summary tells you what the tool is meant to do. So for Make Feature Layer, it's meant to create a feature layer from an input feature class or layer file. The layer that is created by the tool is temporary and will not persist after the session ends unless the layer is saved to disk or the map document is saved. So that's how you save those in a working ArcPro or ArcMap document. As soon as you save that document, it can hold on to that temporary layer within that ArcPro document. However, when we're scripting, we need to be aware that 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 memory file, that layer file, is an in-memory temporary something unless we actually convert it to a GIS data set. Syntax here is listed on each of the help documentations as well. Not only the full syntax of the actual tool, but how each of the parameters break down. And this graph that is typically, table that is typically associated with each of the tools is very important for deciphering what all of their required and optional parameters are. So if you are uncertain what an in feature is meant to be for this tool, you can come down here and find it listed here under parameter, find the explanation of it. So this is the input feature class or layer from which to make the new layer. And you can also look over here and see the data type, and this tells you what it is expecting to see for that particular parameter. You'll notice it has the out layer. Those are the only two required parameters. This is the name of the feature layer to be created, and it is going to be a data type of feature layer. So this is going to be something that you're going to put in information for, and it was going to be something that is created new once the tool is run. A special note for this tool is that the out layer from make feature layer becomes the in layer for our attribute and spatial selection tools that you're going to learn about next. So this is a preview. I just want to show you that the in layer that you're going to see on the select layer by attribute and select layer by location is going to be a direct output of a make feature layer run of that tool that comes before each of these tools as you will move forward.